Hello again. Welcome. We'll now begin the video with a discussion of angels. On January 5th, 1986, Parade Magazine, a publication that's delivered to a very great number of homes in the USA every week with their Sunday newspaper, ran an article titled "The Best and Worst of Everything." The article was a review of the year 1985. Within that article, under the heading Best International News, was the following report. 6 Soviet cosmonauts said they witnessed the most awe-inspiring spectacle ever encountered in space. A band of glowing angels with wings as big as jumbo jets. According to Weekly World News, cosmonauts Vladimir Solovev, Oleg Utkov, and Leonid Kazim said they first saw the celestial beings last July during their 155th day aboard the orbiting Salyut 7 space station, meaning the July prior to the printing of this magazine article. What they saw, they said, were 7 giant figures in the form of humans, but with wings and mist-like halos, as in the classic depiction of angels. Their faces were round with cherubic smiles. 12 days later, the figures returned and were seen by 3 other Soviet scientists, including a woman cosmonaut, Svetlana Savitskaya. They were smiling, she said, as though they shared in a glorious secret. Isn't that beautiful? It's indeed sad that such a wonderful event was not in the headlines of all the newspapers everywhere around the world. Was it absent from the headlines of the world because we, the people of the world, have become so cynical? Perhaps it was because the angels were seen only by Soviet cosmonauts, and no one in this part of the world at that time, during the Cold War, wanted to give the Soviets credit for being the ones chosen to see such an important event. Perhaps the news media felt that no one would believe it and that it would be ridiculed for printing the story. However, if any one or more of those possible reasons are correct, then it's a sad commentary on our times. There are angels, of course. They exist as beings on a higher level plane or a higher frequency of existence than the physical plane on which we live. There are a number of levels of angelic existence, including angels, archangels, cherubim, and seraphim. For a number of years, they've been seen represented almost everywhere. Almost everywhere. Beings of a spiritual nature have been written about in literature for many, many years, countless years. As an example of a similar phenomenon, beginning for the most part in the decade of the 60s, but also in subsequent years, we began to see many depictions of the unicorn. This was brought about partly because of the beginning of a changeover from one age, the age of Pisces, or Pisces, as some pronounce it, to another age, the age of Aquarius, and also because of the closeness in time of events that were still yet a number of years away, but were related to the changeover as certain cycles began to come to a close and others began to open up. As time passed, these events were to accompany that changeover as it took place. There were and are other factors involved, karmic and others, which foreshadowed and still indicate further events yet to come. Some of those events, especially as of September 11, 2001, and later the worldwide financial crisis of 2008, have already begun. These events have affected, and with events that are yet to come, will continue to affect the entire planet. Returning now, however, to the subject of the phenomenon we were discussing, it might also be interesting to note that the unicorn is considered by some to be a symbolic representation of the universal Christ. As previously stated, however, in somewhat more recent times, there's been a great interest in angels and an accompanying interest in depictions of angelic beings, both in pictures and figurines as well as other media, just as it was for unicorns. These things are happening as yet another important sign of the times. They're being brought to our attention by higher positive forces to help prepare our planet and those of us who live on it for the changes which have already been touched upon that are coming to this earth. And as you know, and as I've indicated, some of those changes have already begun. It's very likely that you've heard the term guardian angels in reference to spiritual beings whose work is to watch over and protect human beings. There have also been numerous references to them in the literature of the world. There's a beautiful song about guardian angels that the late Mario Lanza sang on an album of Christmas songs that he recorded many years ago. That's only one example of many. Perhaps you can think of others. Some people believe that the term guardian angels comes from the fact that we all have two spirit guides, one at each shoulder, to guide us as they see need. This, of course, doesn't exclude them from guiding us in such a way as to protect us from danger also. Because of this, some persons believe that these beings may have been the origin for the name guardian angels, although in my particular experience, these particular guides are actually unseen ascended masters rather than angels, while others believe that guardian angels are separate and distinct from the two guides at our shoulders. Knowing which point of view is correct is not nearly as important as the knowledge that we are watched over by higher positive forces. Of course, this doesn't mean that harm will never come to us. There are things that we, at a higher level, choose to endure in order to learn at the conscious physical level the associated lessons that can be learned from having certain experiences. Those higher forces will not interfere with such decisions made by us at that level. As earlier indicated, over the years there have been a number of depictions of angels in literature and other art forms, including television and motion pictures. One that's become very popular each year near the Christmas holiday is the motion picture It's a Wonderful Life. In another film, one of the more beautiful scenes in films depicting angels was near the end of the motion picture Date with an Angel, when the angel in the story swooped down in a burst of brilliant white light to protect her charge, a young man who was being put upon by other characters in the film. The earlier television series Highway to Heaven told a number of beautiful and inspiring stories about an angel doing work on earth, and one of the somewhat later television series, Touched by an Angel, told a number of such stories also. If angels can actually appear in human form, perhaps we should all take care. We may be entertaining angels unawares. Have you ever thought about that at all? Perhaps we should. Going back to something mentioned earlier, however, we should now talk about the secret. When you were reading the article quoted earlier from Parade magazine, did you then wonder, or have you since wondered, whether or not there really was a glorious secret that the angels shared? And if it should be true, have you thought about any at all about the nature of that glorious secret that the angels knew that caused them to smile as they did? The impression received by the cosmonaut that the angels shared a glorious secret was not by accident. Such an important idea would not be left to chance by beings who showed themselves for a very important purpose. They wanted to be seen so that the people of the earth would know that despite all the trials and difficulties that lie ahead for our planet, all is well in their world or plane of spiritual beings, that God is alive and well, thank you, if there ever were any here who might have had their doubts about that fact. And finally, in case we didn't get the message from the motion picture 2010 or 2010, something is going to happen. Something wonderful that we of this planet will not want to miss. I have written in another chapter, another video about the light at the end of the tunnel. A more than significant part of what constitutes that light is the presence and what will be the future benefits of the work of the universal Christ in a state of oneness with the young person who is the master of the Aquarian age, now living and maturing on this planet, while preparing for the work that lies ahead for this very special person. It is that work which will lay the future spiritual foundation for the people of our planet. Actually, will lay the foundation for the future spiritual growth and development of the people of our planet, more accurately. It's that work which will help the people of this planet, of the earth, change their priorities from those of seeking and holding wealth, power, and an excess of material things, to focus instead on the real importance that God deserves in our lives, and to focus also on bringing about at all levels a greater state of international brotherhood and sisterhood among humankind, so that the well-being of our brothers and sisters, our fellow human beings, will take high priority over the acquisition of wealth and our power. Humankind will continue to derive countless benefits in the future, not the least of which will be the light to come as a result of the work that this person will be doing. Although we must endure the tunnel, the period of darkness first, the period of great light that follows will be well worth the wait. Do you suppose that any one or more of these things just might be part of the glorious secret that the angels shared? You know, I wouldn't be a bit surprised. In fact, knowledge of the presence of the universal Christ, once more in human form on our planet, is enough to make me smile too. How about you? That concludes this video. Thank you for watching. You're invited to watch at your convenience the next video and subsequent videos in this series. Again, thank you.